Hello, welcome back to class, the digital version. So my task here today is to introduce for you the Epic of Gilgamesh. I have just assigned a reading, but the reading takes up midway through. The reason for that is we are skipping the opening section because there is some questionable content which I don't even want to touch. It's not horrible. It's stuff that you're probably already familiar with, but I don't even want to get there. So if you would like to read it with your parents to guide you through this opening tablet and a half, then that's great. I will summarize this tablet and a half for you and give you like the censored version. So that's why I'm doing this here. Apologize for some background noise that you might hear. I've got chickens to my right over there, and they're noisy. And then every now and again, my kids start to thump around the house. So apologies for that. Let's jump in. We have the Epic of Gilgamesh. This is, by the way, the very first recorded work in all of ancient history. I should say the first known recorded work. So this is incredibly important for our purposes in ancient history, and so that's why we're reading it, despite the questionable content in the beginning. Gilgamesh is a hero of epic proportions. He is described in the opening lines of the text. Let me go ahead and scroll down to it. The text starts on page 24 of the PDF. Well, there's a blank page, so really it's 26. Tablet number 1. And so here we have the introductory lines to describe who Gilgamesh is. He who saw the wellspring, the foundations of the land, who knew the world's ways, was wise in all things. Gilgamesh, who saw the wellspring, the foundations of the land, who knew the world's ways, was wise in all things. He it was who studied seats of power everywhere, full knowledge of it all he gained. It continues on. He built the walls of ramparted Uruk. Uruk is one of the very first cities in all of ancient history. Very important. And he was the city's king. Later on, it continues to describe him, surpassing all kings for his stature renowned, heroic offspring of Uruk, a charging wild bull. He leads the way in the vanguard. He marches at the rear, defender of his comrades. Mighty flood wall, protector of his troops, furious flood surge, smashing walls of stone. Anyway, digging further. Aha. And who, like Gilgamesh, can proclaim, I am king? Gilgamesh was singled out from the day of his birth. 2/3 of him was divine. 1/3 of him was human. We go further. Gilgamesh could wrestle with 50 companions, wearing out young men every day. He kept the young men of Uruk fearful of mistreatment. So here we have the introduction of the problem, the conflict, right? Every good story has to have a problem. This hero, Gilgamesh, has power unchecked. And this begins a theme that we'll see throughout ancient history and throughout your study of history in the future. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And Gilgamesh here has absolute power. He is 2/3 divine, 1/3 human. He is extremely strong, extremely tall. He is a bull, and he has unchecked power. And he uses that unchecked power to oppress the people of Uruk. So here's the problem. Well, the people of Uruk complain to the gods and goddesses. And so the gods and goddesses hear them. Anu tells Aruru to solve the problem. And here it is. We have it here in line 100 and anyway, 3 or 2. You, Aruru, created the human race. Now create what Anu commanded. To his stormy heart, let that one be equal. Let them contend with each other, that Uruk may have peace. And so the people of Uruk cry out to the gods and goddesses to solve this problem of Gilgamesh's unchecked power and his mistreatment of the people of Uruk. And they answer by creating a power who can check Gilgamesh, one who is his equal. That equal happens to be a man named Enkidu. But before he is technically a man, he is a beast. And he roams with the wild beasts, and he is himself wild. He has very long hair, He crawls around on the ground. He ate grass like gazelles do. He dressed as animals do. Here he is. He knew neither people nor inhabited land. With beasts he jostled at the water hole. With wildlife he drank his fill of water. So he's hanging out with beasts. A hunter, a trapping man, encountered him at the water hole. And this hunter, this trapper, goes and complains to Gilgamesh about this wild beast of a man. Gilgamesh says, hey, send him a woman. The woman is tasked with civilizing Enkidu, and she is successful. And this is the part where you need parental supervision to engage in. So, the means which are employed to civilize Enkidu involve taking him away from the animal critters and creatures that he was around, feeding him bread, feeding him wine, placing him around people, and teaching him how to be socialized. So this serves as like an archetype of the picture of humans going from uncivilized to civilized, going from the Paleolithic sort of nomadic hunter-gatherer lifestyle to living in a city around other people and farming and agriculture and domesticating wild animals and using them for our purposes, whether that is to plow the fields or whether that is to harvest and feed to the population. And so that's a picture, and it's a good picture. So that's what's happening. Later on, Gilgamesh is currently engaged in one of the ways that he oppresses the people of Uruk. He is mistreating them, and he's engaged in that actively, and Enkidu kind of catches him in the act and stops him. Let me find that spot, and we'll scroll down to that spot and read it because it's interesting. Oh, it's indicated by this cool picture. Tablet 2. And here is this picture of Gilgamesh and Enkidu wrestling. So here we have Gilgamesh holding up Enkidu. And the story goes like this. Again, Gilgamesh is engaged in some kind of mistreatment toward the people of Uruk. Enkidu, here it says, Enkidu approached him. They met in the public street. Enkidu blocked the door to the wedding with his foot, not allowing Gilgamesh to enter. They grappled with each other, crouching like bulls. They shattered the doorpost. The wall shook. Gilgamesh and Enkidu grappled with each other, crouching like bulls. They shattered the doorpost. The wall shook. Did I already read that? I must have already read that. Sorry. They grappled with each other at the door to the wedding. They fought in the street, the public square. It was Gilgamesh who knelt for the win, his foot on the ground. His fury abated. He turned away. After he turned away, Enkidu said to him, to Gilgamesh, as one unique did your mother bear you, the wild cow of the ramparts, Ninsen. Exalted you above the most valorous of men. Enlil has granted you kingship over the people. So Enkidu sings the praises of Gilgamesh, who won. They kissed each other and made friends. They discussed together. Gilgamesh is speaking. I have found the friend, the confidant whom I saw in my dreams. There was a dream earlier. Enkidu, the confidant whom I saw in my dreams. So, what just happened? Gilgamesh was oppressing the people of Uruk. Enkidu steps in and prevents him from doing so, distracts him, wrestles with him. Gilgamesh does win, but in the process gains respect for Enkidu. Maybe you've seen this in a boxing match where they're boxing, there's one clear winner, but nevertheless they hug and they embrace because they have this respect for one another. Whereas before the boxing match started, they're so mad at each other, right? And so after the fight, Enkidu and Gilgamesh are friends. They're inseparable, in fact. They're such close friends through this fight because Gilgamesh has realized I have an equal. I have someone who can step up to me, who can challenge me, and I respect him. And Enkidu, of course, respects Gilgamesh in return because Gilgamesh has won the battle, the fight. Well, in response to this new friendship, Gilgamesh has this idea. And it starts right here at our reading, where our reading begins. And again, it is on page 41 of the PDF, right at the bottom here. The PDF itself says page 18 because that is the actual text of the Epic of Gilgamesh and not the introductory material by the editor. So at the bottom, Gilgamesh made ready to speak, saying to Enkidu, "There dwells in the forests a fierce monster, Humbaba. You and I shall kill him and wipe out something evil from the land. Let us surprise him in his dwelling." And so there you have it. You have the introduction to the Epic of Gilgamesh and what has transpired before our assigned reading. We will now read about how Gilgamesh and Enkidu make ready to go to Humbaba. But first, we need a quick character list so that you're not crazy unfamiliar when you're reading this stuff when you are introduced to some of these names. First is, of course, Gilgamesh, the hero, who is the king, 2/3 god, 1/3 man, power unchecked. There's Enkidu, the man created to check the power of Gilgamesh, and Gilgamesh's best friend. Then we have the goddess Ninsun, the cow goddess, who created man and who created Enkidu. Shamhat is the woman Gilgamesh sends to Enkidu to civilize him. Shamash is the Mesopotamian sun god. Humbaba is, of course, the demon bull beast who breathes fire. Ishtar is a goddess in the Sumerian pantheon, religious system. Siduri is another goddess. Urshanabi is Utnapishtim's boatman. Utnapishtim is our Noah character in the Sumerian epic. Utnapishtim, there is a flood story, which we will read, and Utnapishtim is that Noah character who builds a boat to survive the flood. So that's what we have going on for us. I hope that was good for you. I hope that was clear enough. If you have any questions, feel free to just, you can text me at the phone number provided on the Google Classroom post. You can reply to the post. Just figure out a way to ask your question. Otherwise, that's all I have for you today. Enjoy the reading. Goodbye.